It is time for another lesson in Heroclix history. Okay, so we are in 2012. I have notes here on my phone, so don't mind me. This was again at Gen Con in late August, I believe. They added a little something different to the qualifying and also the format. This is the first time that they had like a golden age as part of their qualifying. And I think that got everybody excited back then. That was the little taste, because before that it was only all modern or sealed. And this one they decided, you know what, we're gonna do golden as well. So bear with me. We're gonna go through the different things that were here. Okay, so there were 3 days of qualifying. And modern was from DC 75 up to Chaos War. I know it's Chaos War because Sentry Void was like the big bad one-man army, and I'm guilty of playing that there because I was just lazy. Okay, so day 1, they had sealed pods of 8. Again, just like the previous year, you know, you have to go 3-0 and you get in to the next day. And the boosters for this one was Incredible Hulk. Oof. I know Chaos War was like, it just came out, but I guess they didn't want to do that, and then we were just stuck with Hulk. Oh, it was rough, let me tell you that. And then there were also constructed pods for modern. So you had 2 ways, actually. I believe, I don't know if this is exactly correct, but I want to say during the morning portion for a certain amount of time, there was only sealed, and then in the afternoon to the evening time was just modern. So same thing, pods of 8, you win, you get in, you have to go 3-0, and it's the same structure as before. If you win, you got a LE, and first and second got an LE, but if you got first in your pod 3-0, you automatically get in. And the LEs here were really, really strong because there were Superman, and Superman was one of them. It was a big one. There was Martian Manhunter, Punisher, Punisher as Captain America, and then there was, I think, Agent Venom, Apocalypse. It was really strong, and also this is during the time where this was the only way you could get them. The Connellys were gotten, you know, they got really, they kind of upped them from before. It was just like the Horsemen, and now it's like real, like Dr. Fate and stuff, and these were going for like $250 right off the bat. So if you were in the battle royals there, or playing in these pods and getting them, you could sell them online for like $200 real quick, because there were no WizKids Opens, there were no other convention. Remember, this was the first time you could get any of these. So the people who couldn't make it to Gen Con, they had to buy it online, and the prices were just way up there. And I basically paid for my whole weekend because I won those Connellys, and I was able to sell them. So a lot of people are doing that too. They were just farming the battle royals, and which later on they started making rules for, I think, the following year, because a lot of people would pair up or have 3 people and then just get some unsuspecting person to join the 4th, and then they just gang up on that guy, and then they would just go that, you know, they'd go as fast as possible and try to farm all of these Connellys. So they changed it by, if you know now how they do it, they kind of randomize their pods now. So you're not necessarily going to be playing with the people you came with. So, but that's a whole nother thing when we get to that later on, because I think this is the last year they did that, because people were complaining about like people just kind of colluding with each other. But anyway, let's get back to the worlds part. Constructed, like I said, was modern, 300 points standard. So it's kind of like a preview of kind of what you would see going into the final day. So some people were kind of playing things to just kind of test it out. Others were actually testing their teams, but it was cool to see everything. This was also the first year where they had resources. So that's huge. And this is the first time that we saw an Infinity Gauntlet. I believe this one had, this was after the Infinity Gauntlet storyline OP was done. That was 8 months long. So everybody had all 6 gems on their gauntlet, so it was like fully loaded. You could fully go 40 points. They got all kinds of stuff. So people were familiarizing themselves with it, and also just that like resource. This is the resource age. From here, for the next like 3, 4, 5, 6 years, it was just resources all the time. And then so you qualified to get in to the top, to day 2. Day 2 was 300 points golden. Okay, so this is the cool 300 point golden age. No feats, BFCs. So you could play whatever you want, pre-carded everything back. Just no feats and no BFCs. It was awesome because you got to see all kinds of teams. You got to see those old lamp teams were there. You got to see figures that have already rotated out, came back in. It was really cool. This one has 5 rounds. Top 14 make it to day 3. I'm sorry, top 13 make it to day 3. There were, or is it top 12? We'll get to that. But 5 rounds of qualifying, which is kind of cool because kind of like the complaint before, the year before, was it was only 4 rounds. Here there was like a lot more people, so they made it 5 rounds, and you also got to play a lot. So a lot of people basically everyone that was 4-1 I think got in, and some 3-2s got in, and they actually had coverage. So if you want to look on YouTube, I'll see if I can find the videos, but HC Realms did coverage on this. And you'll see I was one of the feature matches, and I just got rolled because I was playing Sentry Void. Just to note, I started 3-2 in the Golden Age. I just played Sentry Void, and then I lost my last 2 rounds. And I needed to win the last one to get in because I didn't get any points in the 4th round. So and here's one thing that was different about this. They had a last chance qualifier. Okay, so there was a last chance qualifier during the day 2 qualifying where you entered, and then if you won that, it got you into the world's final day, which is kind of weird because I think there was only 8 people that signed up, and the person that won got to skip the qualifying for day 1 and qualifying for day 2. So whereas we had to play a minimum of 3 rounds in day 1, and that's not even counting if you lost and had to enter another pod. Minimum 3 rounds to get in, and then in day 2 you had to go 3-1, or I'm sorry, 3-2 or 4-1 for the most part to get in. The last chance qualifier was only 8 people, so it was 3 rounds. Person got in, and that person was Alex Avila. That name will be important later. So then it was day 3 was top 16, and then here how they always do this. It's 2 rounds of Swiss and then cut to top 8. Now, there were spots that were already taken in the top 16, all right? So these spots were the 2011 national champion, which was George Masso at the time. He won the Origins Nationals, so he got in already to the day 3 of the top 16. And the defending champion from 2011 got to go in there too. So Daniel Joins, he was one of the 16. And then the 3rd spot was the LCQ winner. So in this case, Alex Avila. So 13 spots were only available from the qualifying from day 2. And then day 3, it was, like I said, top 16, 2 rounds cut to 8. So it ends up being a total 5 rounds if you make it to top 8. And it was 300 modern. Okay, so at this point, everybody was kind of excited to see what people were going to try. And then just like everybody, to the surprise of nobody, and everybody kind of predicted this because it was just crazy. Just for 40 points you could do all this for back then. Nowadays, I don't know if it'll hold up, but that's another discussion for another day. But all 16 teams had the Infinity Gauntlet on either the full gauntlet on their tentpole piece or just partial gauntlet on some support piece or whatever. But every single one of the 16 teams. Now, interesting about that, because the gauntlet can make any team, any figure just amazing, right? With all of the stuff that it brings, it kind of opened up the team building in the sense that you can play all these weird different teams, right? There's like Superman, the 150 point Superman was there with the gauntlet. White Lantern Flash. There was a Beta Ray Bill from the Fast Forces. Black Adam from the Superman set. there were. I'm trying to think of. Oh, and even Morgan Le Fay. A lot of Avengers. Morgan Le Fay was like one of the ones because Avengers at the time was a big keyword there. So, a lot of the teams were different in the sense that they can use different tent poles and stuff, but it was the same in the sense that they all had the gauntlets. They kind of functioned differently at times. But in the finals, it was Alex Avila who qualified through the LCQ, and George Masu, who was the 2011 2012 national champion. So this is actually 2012. I don't know if I said 2011, but it should be 2012. Sorry. And it was, you can see the video online, but Alex Avila ended up winning, and he played Morgan Le Fay with the full gauntlet, Wasp, the rare, and then Scarlet Witch, the 50 points. And he paid 10 points for Secret Avengers on both Wasp and Scarlet Witch, which is pretty good for an ATA for back then, because it kind of gives you a shield. They can't perplex you or outwit you unless they have attacked you. So they can't just do it before they attack. They have to do it first, which is pretty good. There were Scarlet Witches everywhere, because Chaos Wars is the newest one, and everybody's always going to want Perplex Prop. So Scarlet Witch, also she has Barrier at certain times, so for some protection. So there's a bunch of Scarlet Witches, a few Morgan Le Fays, a bunch of Supermans, Johnny Quicks, because at the time Hyper was still strong, so like White Lantern Flash was there too. Hawkeyes were there too, and that's basically like you. The format really was who had the best gauntlet team, and then who can kind of withstand the other gauntlet team. That's basically what it is. And in this case, Alex was able to outlast George, and he was able to knock out Black Adam and win. So I'll also link his interview that I did afterwards. I was there. And, everybody, it was exciting because it was all new, a bunch of new stuff. But quickly it wore thin in the competitive scene because everybody was just complaining about the gauntlet and the resource. Little did they know we were just going to see a ton more later on with Utility Belt, Phoenix Force, Book of the Skull, Power Batteries. Oh, geez. So that was just a precursor of what was to come. But although at the time, it really was kind of like the Wild Wild West because they're super overpowered and was unregulated with what people are playing. They had to constantly make rules changes, and that's it birthed the watch list that we know now. So and Alex ended up making Stargirl, the rare from the Superman and Legion set. 2-point value, 75 and 110. So take a look at that. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully you guys learned something there. Enjoyed the going back down memory lane. I know it was exciting, going back and doing the research, but it also kind of brought back those bad memories where I needed to just win the last round to get in, and I just couldn't. It was just really close. I just couldn't. I got leeched. So everybody who knows leech, no power actions within 6, totally wrecks Sentry Void, because Sentry Void has power, can do multi-attack or hypersonic speed. And so my 2 losses in that going in to the third day was leech. And the first 3 rounds I was able to win because Sentry Void is just really powerful. So all right, well, that's it. Sorry for the long delay. There's just a lot of stuff in between. I'll get back to doing more of this. 2013 will be coming up. And that's it. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment. If you were there, let me know what memories you have, what you thought of the format back then, and also like doing Golden Age, because now that we have Silver Age and we still do Bronze Age for us, Golden Age was kind of a taste of what's to come, which is, I thought it was really cool, and they kind of stopped doing it after a couple of years, and I think it's better now that we have Silver. So all right, guys, until next time, remember, only bad players win the dice. See ya.